Leaving just another story. It's millions of man-made lies. They tell of how you fell from the sky. You once proud beauty.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas. And I'd almost like to talk about the whole conspiracies and the demonization of people in America that are trying to get to the truth, trying to understand what's happened to our government, what's trying to defend our country. That would be, I am referring to the link above my website for CBS's 60 Minutes, their hit piece on sovereigns. But today we're going to go in a different direction. We're kind of going to keep our heads in the air. My guests are Bridget, Conroy, and Mike Caraway, and they're of ArizonaSkywatch. What's that about? Let me do a little musical introduction to them and their website, which is all linked up on freeamerican.com. This will set the subject for you here, folks.
Another day, I call the sky. It only lasts till the planes fly by. The trail they leave is cloudy white. They do the same in the dead of night. A sticky, filmy web like strand is sometimes left behind. It gently falls on unsuspecting people till they find. It falls upon the farmers' fields. It lights upon their skin. Aluminum and silicon nanomicrobes soon get in. Yes, it's another day. It's a cloudless sky. It only lasts till the planes fly by. They're not alive.
Come on.
They're not machines.
All right. Bridget, Michael, welcome to the Free American Hour.
Hi, Clay.
Hi, Clay. Good morning. Thanks for inviting us on.
Now, you know that 8 or 9 years ago, I did a video called Chemtrails the Video. It's still available. It's still for sale. It's out there. But what got you interested in the chemtrails, in this phenomena?
Well, Clay, I was browsing around the internet back in around '98 or so, and it was still pretty new to me. And somehow I stumbled across a site called Contrail Connection out of Ohio, where people were sending pictures in of these strange trails coming out of airplanes from all over the country. And after I saw that, I started seeing them in our sky here in Arizona, and told Bridget about it. It wasn't every day at that point, but on Thanksgiving of '98, we started to see this operation every single day here in Phoenix, and it didn't let up for 4 years. They didn't take a break till about 2002, and then it was only for a couple days, and then they started up again. So it goes back to '98 for us.
And tell me about ArizonaSkywatch. We've got the link here, and tell me about that. What are you trying to accomplish with it?
Quite really, what we're doing is making an archive a repository, a place where we're keeping all of the articles, the scientific information. The most recent one I was looking at this morning is from Washington, D.C., under executive order, talking about geoengineering. On that article, it's actually dated 2008. They're talking about self-levitating particles. This is from Dr. David Keith. He was actually on the video from San Diego, part of What in the World Are They Spraying, a documentary by Mark Murphy and Paul Wittenberger. So they're really talking about, this one really caught my eye because they're talking about self-levitating particles. And these are the particles that is in our atmosphere that we're all breathing in. But anybody can come there and see the animal die-offs. We've archived it for many years, including the most recent anomalous bird die-off that happened in, is it Arkansas? Mm-hmm. In Arkansas with the red-winged blackbird. So all of this, we have HAARP, we have our air report analysis, which was done by a lab, which is Arizona DEQ approved lab. They do Palo Verde soil testing. It's really a state-of-the-art laboratory where we test for metals. In our case, we were testing air particulates for metals. So our site is there for anybody to use to educate themselves. That's really our purpose, Clay.
Now, what are you finding? What are the tests? The information that I put out over the last 6 months is that in California they have warned the skiers and hikers not to eat the snow on top of Mount Shasta or Mount Rainier because it's poisoned. And it's poisoned with aluminum. There are heavy doses of aluminum in the mountains up there. Gee, how did that get up there?
In fact, I was speaking to Francis, who was part of that Mount Shasta team, who were looking at snow. Apparently, we don't get much snow. Well, no snow here in the valley. But yes, what they're finding in their snow is the same concentration, the same elements that we here in Arizona are finding in our air. Very high aluminum, very high barium, cadmium, even some of the elements that seem kind of part of a good, healthy diet, such as calcium and iron. The thing to remember is even calcium has a very kind of narrow margin before it becomes toxic or has other implications for your health. So calcium, I'll say specifically, it shares a receptor or doorway, we'll say, it shares it with vitamin D. So when you have a lot of calcium ingested one way or another, inhaled, what happens is that you'll have a vitamin D deficiency. It works the other way too. If you have too much vitamin D, it will block the calcium. What we know here in the Valley of the Sun, it's a little bit ironic, the Valley of the Sun, that almost everybody has a vitamin D deficiency. Initially, we didn't think too much about the calcium because we couldn't figure it out. Now we know it's part of the same, shall we call it, agenda to compromise our health. Mount Shasta, Arizona, up in Golden Valley, they've done some very interesting tests. Really grateful to these people up there in Mojave County, Patriot Group. And they went ahead and had their blood tested. Their blood test through Sonora Coast Lab, Mike and I had it done. About 15 of us have had it done so far here in Arizona. to say that we expected it, but it's still pretty shocking. What we have is very high, very elevated barium in our bloodstream, also elevated aluminum. So that's a pretty telling play.
What are the health effects from this? You've got barium is what they use for X-rays, right? I mean, it carries radioactivity, doesn't it? Or reflects it?
Yeah, it can be used. You're right, it can be used for X-rays, but that's a different type of barium. At the molecular structure, that barium basically it'll travel through your bloodstream, and when you use the toilet or be blunt, have a bowel movement, you will get rid of that. But the barium that we're seeing as an oxide, the health impact to that is just devastating. In scientific documents, which people can see on our site, one of the main things that barium will do to the human body, it will destroy T cells. So essentially, you could carry a gene or a marker for anything, let's just say cancer. So you could have this gene play in your body, but you might never get cancer. It may never express itself. You could live your whole life with that gene until your T cells are destroyed. And those are the cells that protect your immune system. And then once that happens, then you can get anything, cancer, MS, Parkinson's, whatever the genetic makeup. And we all have something through our family history, and may live our whole lives without having that expressed or getting sick. But once you have barium, your T cells are destroyed.
So the aluminum has an effect that leads to Alzheimer's, and we're being really dosed with aluminum because the aluminum byproduct fluoride is being put in our water. Now, if you're adding this spray that's drifting down, it's falling. If it's poisoning the snow up in the mountains, what is it doing to our water and our crops?
That's true, Clay. In the body, the very fine particles of aluminum are crossing the blood-brain barrier and getting into our brain. And we have on our site the Maricopa County health statistics. Death by Alzheimer's rose 60% between 2001 and 2005, and that's because of what the aluminum is doing in our body. The very fine particles, nanoparticles that are settling on our trees in the forest are, and also the magnesium that's in the particles, is causing the wildfires to be much worse than they've ever been before. And in our crops, of course, aluminum is the kiss of death for most crops. It attacks the root system, and it's interesting that Monsanto now is offering aluminum-resistant seeds that will grow even with a lot of aluminum in the soil. We know aluminum is very plentiful in the Earth's crust, but in this form that we're seeing, these very fine particles, it's devastating to the root systems of most crops and trees.
I have a biochemist that makes up trace minerals for me, and she uses fulvic acid, which she extracts from prehistoric plants, and they have to extract it from prehistoric plant life because the fulvic acid doesn't exist in today's crops. Used to be a natural ingredient. And evidently there's only one plant that really reaches down deep enough because the soil's been so depleted by our corporate farms. Ninth plank on the Communist Manifesto, I might add. They're genetically modifying food. They're poisoning. They are really trying to kill off the American people. I guess if you live too far beyond 65, Social Security, just some of the shortages of the Social Security money they stole might show up.
Yes, that's true. The effect of this program is to kill us, maybe quietly and slowly, but we're seeing pretty poor health now, autoimmune diseases that we've never seen before, and we feel, when we look at our young people, that they don't have the vigor that we remember. So we think this program is having widespread, devastating consequences to our health.
Now, if you've got a location, I've got a location. Anthony Hilder was just here. He's doing a film on this, and we've got a location right up here at Penal Air Park. There's Evergreen Air, and they are supplying the planes. You can't see their logo. It's painted on top of the plane, so you can't see it from the bottom. But isn't Evergreen the source of many of these planes that are spraying the chemtrails?
Well, we saw that early in the program in '98 through 2000. We saw these big tankers spraying, but what we've seen since then, Clay, is a heavy-duty military operation. We see state-of-the-art jets flying up high, spraying these all the time, especially at night now. And so we don't really think that Evergreen is the main player. I was walking my dog a few weeks ago, and a big lumbering old, what looked like a passenger liner, came across at only, say, 10,000, 15,000 feet, spraying something out of its wingtips. And so that was probably Evergreen. But I think the major part of the operation, which is international in scope now, is military, definitely. And if it's not the U.S. Air Force only, it may be all the NATO countries involved. This is happening in Europe and across the globe. So
they did the cover for that. The Open Skies Treaty is a cover for that. Those planes could be any one of any of the signatory countries. And isn't that part of the propaganda that they're putting out, that they've got to, this is an international treaty, they have to spray this, it's an act of war if you don't, because if you don't spray this stuff over we're all going to die from solar radiation. Is that the cover story?
That's certainly part of the cover story, Clay. You know, I think what's going to happen, we look back in 2005, and a bill was introduced into Washington, D.C. by K. Bailey Hutchinson out of Texas, and it was called the Weather Modification Bill, right on the heels of Hurricane Katrina. So we all know that what happened in Katrina really didn't have that much to do with the hurricane. It had more to do with the structure of the levees there, which were in poor condition, and certainly New Orleans knew that. But the levees did, you know, horrific. I'm not saying that people weren't hurt. It was just heartbreaking, the damage that it did. And so that bill never got passed. Essentially, they want to tell us that they must spray us to save us. And then we had, after that didn't pass, we had Al Gore coming on with the global warming hype, which has since been more than debated. It has since been completely debunked. According to climate paleontologists, it's part of Earth's natural climate to heat and to cool. We're probably entering a cooling phase right now. And so that didn't quite fly. The big thing is that they want to name CO2 a necessary atmospheric gas for our crops, for our trees and gardens, as the enemy. That's one thing. They'll introduce, in fact, in Arizona, we're working with our capital on our sovereignty to keep federal encroachment from involving itself with our daily life. I'm speaking about the compact fluorescent light bulbs, which is a big money thing. Basically, it's all about money. That's what's driving this machine, and it's money out of your pocket, Clay, out of the pockets of all of our neighbors and communities. So anyway, global warming didn't quite catch on. They're still trying to push it. The big thing that they're going to do now is they're going to push climate disruption so that they can spray us to save us. They're going to cite all of these floods that have been going on in Arkansas, Missouri, all of the whole region. Terrible flooding, of course, ruining our crops. The food will go up. And they're going to cite all of these things, the price of food, the damage to property, the cost of life, and then they'll say that they have to spray us to save us because of climate disruption. However, when many of us across the country look at HAARP, one of the first things that we know, according to Dr. Bernard Eastland, is that we can easily manipulate the jet stream. Therefore, we can sometimes we can steer a hurricane. We can do almost anything. So you're right. I mean, basically, they're always going to say they have to do this to protect us.
Is Congress, is any of our legislative system looking at this? I mean, is this ordained by the government? Is it ordained by a world government? Because I mean, if we've got the ability to force these planes down at a public place and analyze what they're spraying on us. If it isn't top secret, if it isn't if it isn't designed to kill us, why wouldn't they want us to know everything about this operation?
It's true. They'd be bragging about it if it was really helping us. But they're keeping it secret. It seems to be an international in scope, and so we're trying to work at the state sovereignty. If people could somehow get engaged. Our legislators here are very close to us. They have their children and grandchildren here with us in this state. You can go down to the Capitol and speak to them, and they're aware of a lot of this, but we need more people to speak up. Yes, this program is international, and so you might call it functionally a global government.
Well, I have always, pointed out that our constitutional republic has kind of been put on the shelf about May 8th, 1933, when we were placed as collateral. And if they're controlling our banking, they're controlling our money, they're controlling our industry, and they also control the food. I mean, it's interesting that Monsanto is coming out with aluminum resistant. That means if you're not using Monsanto's genetically modified crap, your crops aren't going to live. Isn't that what that means?
Essentially that's what it looks like. We're friends with farmers down in your neck of the woods, south of Tucson, in Cochise, who, by the way, speak very highly of you. A friend of ours, Russ and Jim Dumas, that whole group. There are ways to condition your soil. And I think one of them is magnetite. It just happens naturally. It's kind of a magnetic, volcanic soil. You can amend your soil with things like magnetite. I don't know, basically they even have genetically modified trees and forests. But what we know is the trees basically die within 10 years. The whole thing, whether it's our crops, the Food Safety and Modernization Act, where they will irradiate all our food, including our organic foods, where the federal encroachment against the natural-born human, and certainly the citizens here in Arizona and everywhere, it's a multifaceted attack. So it is on our food, it is in our air, it's in our water. The agenda it is very clear to me now. 8 or 10 years ago, I would have argued with Mike about, why, like all people do in the beginning, why would they do this? They're doing it to themselves. But the fact is, they are doing it. And the aluminum-resistant seed is a big issue, a very big issue. But so far here, our farmers are certainly not using it. Monsanto is working largely in India. The problem there, I don't know, 1,000 farmers in India committed suicide, maybe more, because Monsanto did not tell them that they can't harvest the seed from their crop. They have to keep buying this Roundup ready agricultural seed, and so farmers, I guess, did not quite understand that. And so when they went to harvest their own seed to make heritage seed or to reuse their seed, nothing will grow. You only plant it one time, you get one crop, then you go back to Monsanto, you buy more seeds. Yeah, it's going to be, it's a pretty bad situation, that's for sure.
This, This whole point, I mean, if the rate of cancer is increasing. Now, I just had a gentleman on that's in exile in another country because he found out that cannabis, hemp, THC cures cancer, restores your soil, and of course that's illegal here in this country. And if the populace is kept sick, well, let's see, every other ad on television is for a pharmaceutical of some kind. This whole Obama, first thing he does is come in and try to set up socialized medicine here. And it's like they really are wanting people to get sick. And if you really want to get sick, I mean, go to a hospital, hang out for a little while, Is this? Do you see this as part of a master plan? Because how much money does it cost to fly those planes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth over a county, a city? Where's the profit margin in this? What is the reason for this? I mean, if the government just really cared about the people, I mean, there's a lot more they could be doing than going over and bombing Iraq or Afghanistan. So where's the profit margin? Where's the profit motive in here? Where are they making money off of this? I mean, it's costing them billions of dollars in fuel to pollute our atmosphere.
Yeah, I guess there's always money to be made, Clay. If you buy your aluminum stocks, there's a lot of aluminum being sold. Pharmaceuticals, like you say, and the medical industry is making money off the people that whose health all of our health has been compromised. So there's always money to be made, even out of destroying things and rebuilding them. So,
yeah, if you're Halliburton, yes, that's buy the bombs from Lockheed, drop them on Iraq, and pay Halliburton to go over and rebuild it.
Yeah, it's a pretty good job if you can get it, isn't it? That's exactly right. They're making us sick. They're pushing pharmaceuticals on us because we are sick. One thing I would say to your listeners, and certainly to you, is if you can identify, and I think you'll probably, maybe you don't even need to do this, if you have barium in your bloodstream, get rid of it. Certainly take as few pharmaceutical prescriptions as you can, and keep your immune system as high as possible, because this operation is about money. You can't get them, and it's trillions of dollars. This global spraying operation must be trillions, but they don't really care. They just crank out the money.
And they've got it written in stone.
Yeah.
They got it written in stone. Hold on just a moment, and let me save this recording.
Okay.
And we'll be right back.